hate them. I hate the bitches. Yep. 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 All right, go ahead.
The last text on my phone I got was good night for my grandma. I missed all her texts. These are all her good night texts she sends every night to clarify that she's still alive.
Damn, bro. You just left her ass on red a lot. Like, hello, 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 hello. All right, let's get it in. On today's show, I got. On today's show, I got this guy I met at the strip club. He was there naked, and they had to arrest him and throw him out.
Like, just make up whatever you want, and then I'll try to like go along with it.
This is a random homeless man I found on the street, and I decided to give him $100 bill, and to repay me, he played me his harmonica, and it made me cry. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard in my life. So I invited him for an interview. Please, everyone, welcome Mighty Casual. Here he comes. This is gonna be wild. Welcome to the show, good sir.
Is it even recording?
It has to be recorded.
Are you sure? I don't think it is.
I don't know. I mean,
You gotta
should we
check.
find out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Record a whole 48 minutes.
Started the show on a bad note. We deleted our intro. It was one of the funniest things I'd ever seen in my life. We would try to do it again, but that would just be forcing it. Introducing Mighty Casual. Yeah, here he comes. Take a seat, partner. Good to see you, man.
And like a good high five.
I agree. So yeah, welcome to the show, bro. Really thank you for doing this. You've been an interview that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I'm really appreciative of you.
That's what she said.
I'm appreciative of you. I'm appreciative of your friendship, man. You're a huge inspiration to me. And every time I'm around you, I really do get a boost in my creativity and my workflow. And you're just a really fun person to be around.
You're gonna make me cry.
Do it, bro. Do it. Just tears. No, bro. So the reason we're here, this is.
I was working up one too. That would have been epic.
That would have been amazing.
Oh.
The reason we're here, you have an EP that you have recorded and finished, and we're going to talk about that. This is the first project that you're coming out with.
Yes, sir.
So tell us all a little bit about what's gone into this.
A lot of trials and tribulation. I mean, I think these 3 tracks definitely summarize like where I was a couple months ago, and even till right now, like with just a lot of stuff going on personally. You know, all the friends that were involved in this. When I say this, I mean just like my creative output. I can't thank them enough. I haven't been this consistent about creating in a long time. So now that I'm gonna be able to put this out and then move on to the next thing is wild.
Yeah,
It's been a long time coming.
I'm such a big fan of your work. I'm really excited for people to hear how this sounds. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I know a lot of people are just really looking forward to it. So how does that make you feel that you have people that are excited for you and excited to hear what you're going to put out?
I hope that they give me ideas. I hope when people listen to the music, they come back with more ideas for me or different directions too. I mean, I have ideas for my stuff, and like I really do enjoy hearing other people's comparison, like just comparing my music to something else, where I can go find out new sounds and just like new avenues. I look at this stuff as like it's not like you put out music to outdo somebody else. I put out music to see if I can express with full detail on a mood or like story or something I've been through at a high level. And I think with each project, I'm going to add something more onto there to where I can express that even cleaner.
So we were just in the other room, and you have a catalog of, I would say, 100 songs backed up. What was it about these 3 tracks that made you decide to go with them in particular?
Those songs that are backed up, it was like a training period. Basically, when COVID happened, I got locked in with Don and Connor, and we consistently made like 2 to 3 songs. Like it seemed like every week, if not every night. We were that we did have sessions, and we just all got something out of it. So now, when I go to create with somebody, I try to see how I can help them make it the best. Even with this interview, I want to make sure I actually hit the answers the right way, so people can take away something from it.
How did you first get locked in with Connor and T?
Connor, I met him through my wife. She was working with him, and we went to a festival out Smokers Club Fest. We got to see Mac Miller before he died. He performed Faces. It was pretty sweet. And then I linked him in with a few other guys that I had been working with in the past. And one's name's Light Skin Slim. He played a big part in getting Dio in with me and Connor because that's his cousin. And once we all got linked up, we at the building I was staying at downtown, at Professional Building Loss, like we were just like Connor was on floor 5, I was on floor 10. And I would just go down there and we would just crank out stuff. And Don would come over and we just keep going, just knocking out stuff. It wasn't our intentions to make 100 and 200 songs. It was just we wanted to get better with each track. It just so happened, like at the end of that, we came out with like a brotherhood, and then we also came up with a lot of music that we didn't put out. And when we do put it out, it'll have full intention and just like full rollout direction of what we want to do with it.
So this is something that I've been curious about you because we've been linked up for about 6 months or so. And I don't actually know that much about your backgrounds prior to when we got linked up. Where are you from? How did you end up in Kansas City? Go into a little detail about that.
So my mom's a country girl. She's one of 6, and she grew up on 243 acres around Amish people. And like my grandma, she's from Utah. And she was born in Idaho. So like the way I speak is because of those women. They really show emphasis on words and stuff like that. And then I get my charisma from my dad. He was very charismatic. He could have done stand-up. He could have done rap, anything, really. And when you combine both of those, you get me. And my only sister from my mom, Jamara, she's still in Kansas. But yeah, I'm originally from Ohio. So my mom got a job with United Telephone and turned to Sprint. We moved out here about 2000, I think, and then ever since then I was just out here. It was a cool experience. Like I got to grow up around a diverse group of people. Like I hung out with every type of person, I think, before I graduated. So now that when I go out to eat or go out anywhere, or go out to any social event, I love talking to people because I like to add more characters to my world, of like what kind of person this person might be or what they might like. I try to stay open-minded to that.
What was the biggest change going from there to here? Was there any adjustment at all?
Not really, except for just not having my grandmother, but we went and visited her during the summer, so nothing really too crazy. I mean, they got cold weather too, and I haven't been back ever since. I need to go back. My brother's up there, so I'll probably go up there and visit him and the rest of my brothers and sisters. I have 12, I think, 11. I don't know. I have a lot of brothers and sisters.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
I have a lot of brothers and sisters, and I love them all, and I send my love towards them whenever I get a chance to in text and Facebook posts and stuff like that. So
how did you first get into making music? I'm curious.
When I was growing up in Olathe, I met a few people in my life. Like, remember when LimeWire was like popping?
And LimeWire is like a little bit before me.
So there's this guy. His name's Eris Webster, and I'm putting his government out here. You can bleep that, but his name's Eris. And he used to make me blank CDs, and he would have like remixes of all types of like Texas artists, like LBP. That's when Paul Wall and all them were hot and stuff like that. And then I also ran into a guy who I used to give my iPod to because he can get all the songs. And his name's Chris Chalk. And he would put tons of Texas artists on there too. And just doing that, going through that era, of like that's when Lil Wayne was about to pop, and that's when like people were debating on if Drake or Tiger were better than Wayne. Like it was around that era that I was getting all these like different sounds and different styles. And then once I got to high school, I got introduced to Kanye West, and I got introduced to Kid Cudi by the time I graduated. So it was just like I had a full spectrum of just sound and where rap was going. So
How wild were those times, though? I mean, when we were coming up,
yeah.
and there was no such thing as streaming services. If you wanted a song, you would illegally
You burn
download
it,
the
yeah.
MP3, or you would have to buy the track for $1.29 or whatever
Yeah.
on iTunes, and that was the hustle.
Yeah.
It's so much different than it is now.
Yeah, it's totally different now. I was just telling somebody we were watching YouTube videos of this surfer group. They're called Sickos, and they do like a bunch of water sports and stuff like that. And like they get like 11,000, 14,000, views, 14,000 views on their videos, but like I can see that they mainly profit from their merch. So it's just like, you might not get a lot of streams or whatever, but it's how should I say it? It's a renaissance. Like you might pop off your merch before you pop off your music. It's
100%.
like it's all about being passionate about everything you do, because you never know what's gonna work for you more so than just the main focus is. So
Yeah, I can remember the first car that I had, it didn't have a little plug-in for a USB or anything. So the only way that I could listen to music in my car is I would have to burn a CD with tracks
yeah,
and like play the CD in my car.
yeah.
And that's not that long ago.
Yeah, see, in Eris, he had the CDs that had where you can put like 40 tracks in
Hmm.
there. So it was just like, the normal 15, you're like, oh no, but 40 tracks, you're like, oh wow, this is good. And that's right before Zune came out. There were Zunes. Obama had a Zune. That was wild. They were really trying to push Zune to be better than iPod, but it was never going to work out. And that's when the school systems, they gave us all Palm Pilots, like in Olathe. They gave us all Palm Pilots, and we were putting music on there, and that's when like Chain Hang Low was like hot.
Hmm.
Mims, This Is Why I'm Hot was hot.
Bro, that used to be my favorite song in like 6th grade.
What else? Vans, When the Pack was hot. And it was just like, it was a different time, man. And people were just putting music on there. I was different in high school, man. I pretty much like hung out with everybody that I had in my class. Like I didn't like go to parties or anything, but I like took time with everybody to make them laugh or just like get their story so I can understand them a little bit better. So
And you were a basketball guy back in the day,
Yeah.
is that right?
yeah, I was definitely I was in love with basketball. I was better at track though. I was better at high jump. But yeah, I was definitely in love with basketball, and it was a good time, man. I'm still in love with basketball. I'm excited to see what this NBA season's gonna bring. So
Where does the Mighty Casual come from?
mighty casual, mighty meaning God, and then casual. I mean, it speaks for itself. I want to be the best at fitting in, and relating to people that I'm not supposed to relate to, because I feel like if you can culture yourself in stuff that necessarily is not a stereotype, you will become a fuller person. You have more of a choice and an opportunity too. So I try to educate myself through putting myself in situations that are uncomfortable, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
Music. So like, it took me a while for me to get serious for music, but I'm glad I did, because like it's gonna be the ultimate discomfort. But I know I'm gonna treat it just like a conversation. Just make it work.
All of this stuff is scary. I mean, being an artist, anytime you put yourself out there for the world and for other people to see, and you open yourself up to criticism, you're completely vulnerable. It's all terrifying.
Yeah, it really is, and I think your best moments are behind that, though. Like when you have a fear of something, or you know other people's expectations of you and what you're supposed to be doing, quote unquote. You can easily box yourself in to being like saying things like I can't, or I don't see myself doing, or I can never. And it's just like when you say those things, you're subconsciously programming yourself to fail. And
For sure. The way you talk to yourself is so important,
hmm
because I didn't know that much about the subconscious mind until pretty recently, but it does 100% influence your reality. What you say will be. that's what will be. You can say, "Oh, my life sucks." Your life is gonna suck. Your attitude and your thoughts and the way you talk to yourself manifest your reality.
Yeah, yeah. I remember saying I wanted to be someone's favorite artist, and I am. You know,
You're one of
so
mine, bro. You have to be in my top 10. I mean, truthfully,
that's
not
awesome.
just in Kansas City, not just in the group that we run around with.
Yeah,
Truthfully, one of my favorite artists.
yeah.
I love listening to your music.
Good, good. I'm glad too, and I just hope you grow with me, and the whoever is tuning in, just know that it takes time to get the stuff that I put out. Because it's also not just making it, but it's also like the timing. It's like, when do you put this out? When does this make sense? You know, when does this emotion need to be displayed? So it's just like, with this EP, I feel like I'm giving you the best handshake, hug that you can understand, to where you like, okay, cool. This is gonna be a good start to move forward with.
It's a great intro, and I love that
Mhm.
it's 3 tracks because the replay value of it is going to be so high. People are just going to keep spinning it and spinning it
Mhm.
and spinning it. And I think you've been really smart with how you're going to do that because you could very easily come out with a 20-track album. And that's just so much for people to digest at one time. But
Yeah.
3 tracks in EP as opposed to doing a bunch of singles or an album,
Right.
I think that's just a great idea on your
Y-
part.
Yeah, and I got that from Don, just hanging out with him and understanding that, bro, like, trapping is in everything. And then if you look at your time as drugs to people, or you look at your presence as a need for people, it's like you can pinch off a few good pieces and just give them that for just a little bit, and they can last on that for a very long time, especially if it's quality. You don't have to, you know, put out a mixtape every week. I mean, if you do, that'd be awesome. Good for your fan base. Then they know what they expect from you. But me personally, like, I want to create a family. I don't want it to be a fan base. I don't want them to be all in my face about everything and being super critical of just like what I'm supposed to sound like, cuz like you already know what you're getting, cuz I'm going to give it to you. I'm not going to make songs just to appease the main majority of people, cuz I can do that with my homies. Like, we can make what I'm saying, hits.
Anything.
Yeah, we can do
Go right over
anything.
there right now.
Right, we can go over there right now and make a hit, and that'll be viral for like a year or two. But it's like, when you're listening to these, I want a story. I want it to all unfold into like who I am now, who I've been, what I want to be. All that, all in there. Just like, kind of like a Harry Potter series almost. So this is the Sorcerer's Stone, basically.
Best Harry Potter. I will ask you that.
Yeah, it's definitely, I would say, Sorcerer's Stone.
Do you think really?
Oh yeah, my favorite. I didn't read the books, but my favorite movie by far is the Sorcerer's Stone, because it's just like, I'm a big intro guy. Like, I love.
That is okay. That's the
I'm
intro one.
huge on intro. Like, you knock it out in the intro, you got me for at least 2 to 3 more times of what you want to do. That's why I love Meek Mill, because like all his intros are so hard.
Right.
You're
Yeah,
like,
he has one
I'm
of the
gonna
best
listen to at least
intros.
like 4 more, 5 more tracks, and it's gonna, like, if it can match this energy, it's good. But yeah, Sorcerer's Stone, it shows you like the whole world. Like, when it starts with him being normal, and then him talking to the snake, him realizing like something's off, something's always been off. His family situation's off, and then like all this other stuff starts to like accumulate, and then he finds himself. He realizes who he is, and then he doesn't just want to be there. Like, this kid went to a whole wizard school and was like, there's some fucked up shit going on. Like, I gotta change this. It wasn't like, no, I just gotta go to class.
Right.
And like, there's a lot of layers in that. Shout out J.K. Rowling. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of layers in that, and it's just like, if you can take those little tiny pieces, like, from a movie, and implement that into your life, to where it's like, if I get into the industry that I want to be in, that I didn't even see myself being in, I'm gonna make change.
It's a good
Even
way
if,
to look at it.
yeah, even if it sacrifices, it's not popular or whatever. It's like, I'd rather it be organic for me than a reach. I don't want to reach.
You were telling me the other day to watch Cruella.
Yes, it's so
Do you
hard.
get a lot of your inspiration from TV, from movies?
Yes, I was big on movies when I was growing up. Actually, one of my favorite movies is so my grandpa he watched kung fu and kung fu and westerns, and my grandma she would watch sci-fi. So one of my favorite movies is Warriors of Virtue. It might still be on Netflix, but it's a bunch of kangaroos that are like ninjas and like
That sounds cool.
yeah, and it's like the kid he was getting bullied in the first start of the movie. He's just this kid. He just couldn't get his stuff straight, and he had like a bum leg or something, and he gets pushed into the sewer drain, and then wakes up into like this like different world. Like it's crazy, and come to find out he's like the answer to the prophecy, and it's just like it's wild stuff. But I like I like that kind of stuff too because it's not just cut and dry. Like even with music, like I don't like just cut and dry stuff. Like if it's a love song, like do it differently than what you've already heard on the radio. Add something that in there that's going to be you. Because if you don't, then it's just another song.
That's the key is there's so many people I think these days who are trying to sound like someone else.
Yeah.
And there are so many people doing music. There's space and there's room for everyone. Just like there's space and room for everyone's personality and the opportunity that they have to contribute to society. Your experiences that you've had, no one else has had. So if you put that out there, there is space for you, but it has to be original. It has to be you if you want it to last and not someone else or someone that you're pretending to be.
Yeah. And that's what makes it genuine, and it makes it into genuine music because it's like and it's more comfortable because like whenever somebody asks you to do work, they're basing it off of like what they've heard from you. And if they've heard like a bunch of generic stuff, that's what they're gonna be expecting. You can't be trying different stuff. But no, it's you have to implement yourself because even if you are putting on a little bit of front, just always go back to telling the truth. Because if you tell the truth, then there's nothing more genuine than that. So
Yeah, I think I was saying earlier, you've inspired me to start making music myself, but I will sometimes catch myself if I hear a beat and it comes on, just kind of saying or writing something that is not me. And that's when I'm just like, all right, we gotta scrap this because it's not gonna last. Only real music is what gets played over and over and over again. Those songs that you mentioned that were hot when we were, junior high, those
yeah,
that's who they really were, and that's
yeah.
why they've stuck around for so long.
Because it was a real experience. Like, got my Vans on because they look like sneakers. That's like, it sounds so cheesy, but that beat is so menacing and like it's so playful. Like it's from a real place. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like whatever you're excited about, there's probably gonna be somebody else that gets excited about it. So if you get excited while you're saying it, it's probably gonna like quote unquote work, but it's also gonna be uh, a better feeling for yourself to express it because it's like, oh, I want to show you this song because I got this song about baloney. You know what I mean? Like I've always loved baloney, and I just wanted to make a song about it, and it actually works because it's actually a bop.
Yeah.
You know, so
You guys have the most fun recording. I've been around a bunch of different artists at this point. You guys, you, Connor, T, just that crew have the most fun of anybody that I've seen. And that 100% comes through in the music.
yeah, man, it's just we start off our day with just dealing with it like everybody else. I mean, you know, I wish I could do this full time, but working with these guys, like I said, like they go, like you said, they go as hard as anybody. Especially Connor, because like for him to record us, make the beat, and then also rap too. Like he has some stuff he will not put out yet, but it,
Connor is a legend. Shout
he
out to
can
Connor.
do it.
Connor, shout out to
Yeah,
you, bro.
and then you got the workhorse of us all with Don, and it's just like, bro, like he can freestyle like a whole album for you, and he's young too, dude. He's gonna be doing some things that are not just gonna be impressive in what the culture is deemed to be like goat status. It's like bro, you can do things tomorrow that's going to be, helpful for the next artist because you're not following the same old blueprint. And whether it's in your business deals or how you treat people. Because like I also realize like being called an artist is cool. Like if you come up to me and you're like, "Hey, Mighty," or "Hey, Jamal," or whatever, like you're always gonna get the same person. It's never gonna be like a front of something that I thought is how it's supposed to work. It's like I'm dealing with this as it comes. I didn't think people were gonna like listen to my music until like I got to a certain level, but it's working right now. So I'm gonna remain humble, and I feel like if you do that, it also keeps you sharp. It keeps you wanting to go. Because I know I listen to the EP over and over again. There's things I want to change, but it's already done. So I just gotta do that in the next song.
Right. And something we were talking about off camera, just I'm so thankful that I've tapped in with you guys because this is a big city. There are so many artists. To have found you guys so quickly from when I first, started trying to get in this scene was the biggest blessing. But off camera, we talked about the pressure that we put ourselves under just to make it happen, make it happen, make it happen. And it's important to realize, and this goes for anybody who's trying to make it happen in whatever industry, whatever dream you might have, takes time. And this is
Yeah.
all about the big picture because where we're at right now, where we're sitting in these two chairs, is not where we will be if we continue this workflow, if we continue to pursue the things that we love to do. Five
Yeah.
years from now, it'll be a different scene.
Yeah, and that's what I mainly tell my guys, like, or anybody I deal with. I mean, like I tell you all the time, it's all about your personal life. You handle your personal life, bro. You can live like your favorite artist without having like the same music out, the same stresses. You don't have to reach for anything. If you keep sharpening your skills and then understanding, like, I have a 9 to 5. I don't necessarily want to do it, but it's like I make it work because I'm gonna spend 80% of my time there. So while I'm there, I tell them about my music. I tell them about things I care about. Tell them what I'm going through. I'm honest with them. I'm trying to see how processes can be a lot easier to make people's jobs easier. Just so when I go there, I feel comfortable and I feel like you can be an artist. Like I can start putting on intimate shows with just like 10 people and get the same feeling that I would get out of reaching and trying to like put on shows for 100 people that don't even know who I am yet. So I think my favorite part about this will be the rise because it will be like it'll be inevitable. It's supposed to happen at that point,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's the same with me. I'm starting to realize there are things in pursuing your dreams that will come at you that you have to do. Even if you don't want to do them, they will help you get to where you're going. And an attitude that I'm trying to adopt recently is what can I take from this experience and apply it to this next thing that I'm trying to do? Is it your 9 to 5? Okay, customer service, sales. How can I market a product? That market can be yourself. I
Mhm.
mean, every situation you're in, every conversation you have, there's something to be learned. You have to keep that attitude and come at it correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't waste no time, shout out DON. Can't waste no time.
It's the truth, bro. And I love that you spoke on this because nothing is more important than your piece.
Yeah.
And especially as far as creating goes, once your piece is gone, you will not be able to create
No.
the same way.
No.
It just doesn't work out for whatever reason.
Mhm.
The other things that life will throw at you, you have to have peace in order to create and truly make things
Yeah,
happen.
and don't give yourself limitations. I used to give myself limitation like, "Oh, I'm going to be too old for this by this time. I'm going to quit by this time." It's like now I look at it as just like everybody that creates, whether you're Jordan Peele or even the guy down the street that wants to make a short film, it's like we all have the same opportunity. It's just one gets the audience first. That's all it is. And if you put the same amount of effort or more into it, eventually your audience will grow. People love to hold things dear and near to themselves, especially if they find something that's super dope and they're like nerding out about it and they're like, oh, like, did you even know this guy's from Kansas City and like check
Oh,
this out,
yeah.
blah blah.
That's why I love SoundCloud because there actually is nothing better than discovering somebody, whatever, has
Yeah.
400 followers, and you're like, this is the most dope person I've ever heard,
Yeah.
and the world hasn't heard about him yet.
Yeah. And with coming with this music stuff is just like going back into what I was saying is, it's like me showing up for class late and there's already like people in the class that are like, kind of in the same boat, I look at Don and Connor as my classmates because we do group projects together all the time. And you got to understand like when you start doing a lot more projects with other people, you realize like life is a project, and the people you deal with to get stuff done, whether that be yourself or not. If you're not, self sufficient, you can actually hurt a group project because whether your finances aren't right or whether your attitude's not right to meeting new people or your attitude's not right in stressful situations. Me at my job, I deal with chaos all the time. So like for instance, we lost our studio when Connor and me were living in the same building. Our building flooded at the bottom level and knocked out the boiler room electrical grid. And we were recording songs back to back. We were actually recording a song that night, and it slowed down all the recording process. So we didn't like freak out and be like, oh, like we're gonna lose time. It's like no, this is the time to actually settle down and just like find peace. I moved back to Kansas, and I found peace in where I live, and I found peace in knowing that this is just a part of the process. This is all part of the process.
It seems to me like the people who are destined to do great things, it's never easy. You know what I mean? It's like life will throw tests at you on purpose just to see if you can overcome them. And that's part of what being great is knowing that none of this is going to come easy. If it comes too easy, it's probably not real. And overcoming those challenges, like, it's just what makes people great. It makes people who they are.
It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at all documentary movies, you're like, or all biopics, you're like, man, like I remember that part in his life, and that's crazy. He fought against that. It's like you have to, or she, fought against that. You have to like show that you can do something at the highest level against adversity because it's like you're always going to get adversity, and that really tests your character. But if you can power through that, you'll be more successful that way than bowing down
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
And everybody's story is different, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's super easy, especially in this game, to compare yourself to others. And social media now makes it super easy to
Mhm.
compare yourself to this person who has this song coming out or this person who has 10,000 followers and is doing all this and making all this money. But everyone's story is different.
Mhm.
And so how you make it, even if it's doing something similar, for example, music, it will not be the same way that someone else does it.
Right. Exactly. And like you said, it's a stream of things. It's like if you listen to this person might pop up later. It's like instead of looking at that person like, oh, they're in my lane, or oh, they're doing the exact same. Even on social media, like people who travel to try to like flex on each other. It's hilarious because it's like everything is affordable. There's nobody that's just out here doing something that's inhumanly possible. You know what I'm saying? Like unless you walk outside, then there's like some guy just like flying. You'd be like, okay, that guy's got it. There's nobody else in the world that's flying. But I'm just saying, like everything that's humanly possible is easily to be done. It's not even a doubt in my mind that I can't do all the things I want to do um, because humans do it. It's just like
Somebody else did it. Why
somebody
can't
else
you?
did it. It's just like even if it seems impossible at the moment or it sounds crazy, it is what it is. It's humanly possible. Everything that we want to do with Duff Radio, with my career, with how I want to, expand and do some more stuff with Duff Radio. It's all possible, and it's all up to us. It's all about our consistency and our attributes always growing.
Yeah,
So
you control your own destiny, especially in this. Nobody's going to hand it to you.
right, right.
You went ghost on social media a while ago, and I liked your take on that. What was your reasoning for it?
Um, Now I'm trying to remember what I told you. Because usually the usual thing is I didn't like how I didn't have anything ready to present,
Mm.
so I was just like wasting time and space. and I was just doing it because I thought like I want to test out different things, different types of posts or whatever to see where my analytics are. But then I was just like, like why don't I just like come up with my own projects for myself and give myself deadlines? So when I told myself, I want to do this 3-track EP, I announced it that day. I was like, oh, yep, EP on the way. It wasn't even done. There was no beats done. You saw the whole process,
Yes, I
So
mean,
it's just
literally
like,
start to finish.
yeah, there was no process. There was no, uh, nothing was done. There was no title, no nothing. I just came up with Mighty Casual Volume 1 that day. I was just like, yeah, let's just do that and then run it like that. And that put pressure on myself. Okay, I got to get this done. Now that it's done, I got to work on, if I want to have merch for it or if I want to have videos for it or if I want to, tie it into this project. So it's just like, it's a start. It's what I needed because there's a lot of people that just talk and I was one of those. So I had to figure out how I can stay consistent and have a sense of integrity with what I want to do, So,
Yeah, something that you don't realize until you kind of get in this space. You can go on the internet, Twitter, or whatever, and all you'll see is drop the album, like drop right now. But that's just not how it works. You can
mhm.
have the music side of it, it's important, but that's only 50%
Mhm.
because then you got to figure out, okay, how can I get this heard by as many people as possible? How can I monetize this music? And
Yeah.
that's ever changing. People are finding new ways to make money off music every day. Tory Lanez, for example, that is insanity to me.
Yeah, he's a workhorse. Yeah.
Yeah, just an inspiration.
Dealing with like huge media adversity, dude. And it's like cancel culture is real, and they not only want to go for your pockets, but they want to like really mess with you, like to
And you,
where,
yeah, take you
yeah,
out. Like,
yeah, like you're done. Like I don't want to hear you even like talk. And it's like my thing with cancel culture is like there needs to be another form or another push for like learning. Like did that person even learn from it? Instead of just being ready to write somebody off, it's like why don't you teach them?
well, you're not allowed to make a mistake nowadays.
Right.
It makes me super thankful. Like, having kids who are going to have Twitter or whatever comes even after Twitter,
Mhm.
merciless, bro. Can you imagine what you would have tweeted at like age 13,
I
for
was being
example?
stupid. I remember back in the day, it was just like I'm like everybody who's watching this probably already knows, but like I had like 100 Twitters, 100 Instagrams, 100 Facebooks, and what I learned with all of that is just like no matter what you think a fresh start is, it's like you're always going to remain, you know, with the same makeup. I mean, you're always going to be either posting about food and travel or all this. It's like you can try to like designate stuff and be like, yeah, I want to only post this kind of stuff, and this is how I'm going to change the perception of myself. And it's like me personally. I'm always me on my Instagram. Like I've never like took on like a persona of somebody else. Like I always posted about my girl. I posted about my homies, my music, all the creative stuff, some funny stuff because I love being funny, dancing because I used to dance all the time. I still do when I'm happy. So it's just like I did that. Did all that with saying it's just like you will always post like how you always post. You will, and it's just like it's in you. It's like a code. You know.
What do you do when they come for you?
Uh,
When the cancel culture comes for you.
when the cancel culture comes for me, and the time will come, is just like I will understand that it's a real thing. It's people trying to find understanding, not only with me and my issues, or maybe they have something that's relatable that's going on that they don't want to talk about. Because everybody has like some crazy stuff that's going on in their life that they don't want to talk about or they feel insecure about talking about. Mental health, dude. It's just like it's a real thing. Like it's hard to discuss sometimes. So like when you're stepping out and you're ready to be public about something, whether it be doing music or you want to be an astronaut, you're gonna get some type of pushback. And if you don't, then people must really think highly of you.
Right. Because it's just weird that with any amount of success comes hatred.
Yeah, because there's people going through problems 24/7 everywhere. Like even with COVID being here, like um, to say this at a, I don't know the right way to say this. See, that's another thing. It's like just saying stuff the right way. But COVID going on, like people were dying before COVID. Like there was like what 10 people. I don't know what the stat is. Usually, what we learn in school is like every like 10 seconds or somebody dies and somebody's born, and it's just like we didn't care about that. We were just like numb to it. We were like, oh, okay, nobody's keeping track, you know. But when this disease happened, or when this virus came in, we were just like on edge about everything. That's all the news was reporting. They don't even have anything else to report. Like
Yeah.
I wish the news was more creative and they like went and actually found some stories that they go downhill, but then went right back uphill. You know, like right now, you know, I'm not in tune with it because it's just like it's very fear pushing. Like they're pushing fear, you
Yeah.
know, heavy. So like even when you don't have COVID, you could possibly work yourself up into having an anxiety attack because you think you do.
Oh yeah,
You know.
that's a real thing. I was having a conversation about this yesterday. How you get a sniffle or whatever, and you can theoretically work your way into actually being ill.
Mhm.
That's just the power of your mind, and that's proven through the placebo effect. Somebody can come to you and say, "Oh man, I'm feeling really sick." Okay, here's a pill. The pill is actually sugar, but you take the pill and you feel better just because you think that you've taken something that will cure you. In reality, it's not. It's just you're tricking your mind into thinking, "All right, we're getting better now."
Right. And that's the same thing cancel culture can do is like when you got everybody gunning for you in your comments and like I'm only speaking from a hypothetical place. I have never had this happen. But I have had pushback for certain stuff that I want to do, so I understand it. Like, once people agree it's dangerous. Whatever people agree on, they can make it so, but it doesn't have to be so for you. I just realized that if my friends ever have to go through it, well, some have gone through it and like they're still alive. Like we only get like 100 years maybe here, and like
Maybe.
when we care so much about our society, it's like yeah, it's good, and we should push for change, but at the same time, you should also govern your the thing you can control is which is yourself. What you should be learning and what you should put your time into, and if it's being a good person, then do that. But if you're not a good person to somebody else's standards, don't get stressed out because you are what you know is best for
Yeah.
you.
And taking other people's opinions always needs to happen with a grain of salt
Yeah.
because if I'm judging you for something that you did yesterday, a comment you made, whatever, that's only coming from my perspective and my vision of perfection. I'm judging you based on what I think the world should be or how a human should act. You
Yeah.
just take that stuff with a grain of salt because everyone's opinions are different and other people's opinions shouldn't shape who you are in that way.
Yeah, I was just talking to my wife about this. It's just like, you look at Kanye when he got on stage and he had that breakdown or that breakthrough of just understanding like he doesn't need radio, he doesn't need the machines that we used to use back in the day to make something work. Like Life of Pablo was not on the radio at all, and like every song on there is a hit. He is like
Mhm.
huge artist throughout the whole thing, but it's just like they have the power to be like, oh no, don't put that on the radio, this and this and this. And at first he thought, well, that's the end of what I was trying to do with that project. But it's like that's on their platform. Like you can go get a buddy who's close to you who wants to create his own platform and push them to the point to where they have more leverage than the people that are already in power. And that's just the power game I play. I play from home base because, like, if I can get the people around me inspired to do what they want to do, it's going to be more beneficial for me because we're accountable for each other. You know.
Absolutely. You
So.
have to have a team in this business
Mhm.
as far as the things that we're trying to do, the goals we have. One person usually gets a lot of the shine, Tory Lanez, for example, but what you don't see are his entire crew of people that have helped him get there.
Mhm.
And you just look at it and think, oh, he's the man. He made it happen, which obviously incredibly talented, but you got to have a crew of people that you trust and that have a similar vision to the one that you have in order to get where you want to go.
Yeah, and also understanding that when you build like that, it helps. each other. We help. It's like group economics. We help each other out. At the end of the day, if I push you to be the best person you can possibly be, and you push me to be the best person I can possibly be, we stay on that same accord. It's never like, oh, you gotta interview with, Childish Gambino. That's crazy. And so now we can't talk anymore because you're not available. You know what I mean? It's not. We set ego aside, and we're like, dude, it's still home base because it's not just doing it that one time. Can you do it on a consistent basis to where like you go from a Gambino to somebody that doesn't even like is selling CDs at the gas station, but you see so much potential in them and you still interview them, because there's opportunity everywhere, not just it's outside of name brands. So it's just like that's how I see people. I say there's nothing, there's nothing more powerful than passion, passion and love. Because like when you first came to me and you're like, I'm gonna do this and that, I'm like, yeah, that's cool and all. I don't necessarily don't care about it, but the simple fact that you're passionate about it is dangerous because you're gonna do it. You're gonna keep going and you're gonna try to get better and you're gonna find people like that, and that's why we like kept you around because it's just like that's the energy we feed off of. We want to be around people who want the same things we want out of this, and whether that is to be a better artist or a better person, it's just also to recharge your passion about it. So if you ever get to a point to where it's like, man, I'm tired of interviewing like these type of people, change the location, go outside.
Switch it up.
Switch it up. Do a whole nother short series of different type of interviews. Like I want to do this, or I want to do pop-up game show. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to like just find someone on the street and just be like, "Hey, did you know you're on a game show?" And like I'm gonna ask you a random question, and you can win like $100. She'd be like, "Oh my god, like what?" And then like you can do anything nowadays. There's no machine that's like, oh, you can't do this. It's like, no, there's platforms for us to use. And eventually, once we learn how to make our own platforms, that's when it really gets dangerous.
Oh, yeah. This is the greatest time to be alive, I think, but also the greatest time to be a creator because the internet makes literally anything possible. If you like to sit at home and play video games or eat Cheetos, there's Twitch, there's YouTube. You can literally make a living doing anything that you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's real wizards that live here. They're like Dom Chronicles, uh, Chris Swaps, G Watts, the collectives that govern our scene and help it grow. Like the WAPs, 13 Tera, and his network of people. It's just like there's tons of people out here that want to see different things and different opportunities like pop-ups and like the AV Club, they're doing stuff, and like there's improv, KC Improv, I think it was Kansas City Improv, or it might have been Stanford, I don't know. They just brought Zach Fox through and I missed that. I was supposed to go on Friday. I was like, dang, I could have gone to that. It's just like just having that sense of you have a whole bunch of opportunity in one place that you don't even got to go to a whole nother map. Like you don't got to go to California. And that's why I said, the big question or the big thing everybody says is like, how can we like be like Atlanta or be like LA? It's like, we'll never be like Atlanta or LA. We'll never be like those guys. We'll always be different. And like, we just got to figure out how to generate for us only.
Yeah, this is such an exciting place to be, actually. Since I've lived here for the time that I've been here, I was so anxious, to make something happen here and then propel myself somewhere else, somewhere more luxurious or where there's more opportunity. That was just my mindset. But I love being here right now because it feels like it's just untapped. And there's so much talent everywhere just waiting to pop.
Yes, it's Midwest stuff, man. I think we have a lot of potential because like we're literally middle of the map, so it's just like it's a mixture of everything. I'm from Ohio, so you got all types of cultures just coming in one place because the economy was right for this place to raise your kids. That's basically all it is. It wasn't like, oh, my kid's gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna move here. Or all my kid's gonna be an actor, so I'm gonna move here. So we don't have that personality around here. It's like if you got some type of skill and you display it, you're gonna have to display it at a high level to impress people you're around. This is a very critical area for artists. So
yeah, the Midwest itself is just such a different vibe because, like you said, it's the middle of the map. It's nothing luxurious about being here at all.
Yeah.
There's no real draw to it. We don't have the mountains. We don't have the beach. I
Yeah.
mean, like, we are literally just sitting in Kansas.
Yeah.
And there's not that much else to it, but that lends itself to a certain type of person. It lends itself to certain type of attitudes that you just don't get anywhere else.
Right.
And it's just as important as an LA or an Atlanta or a New York,
Yeah,
anywhere like
it
that.
is. And once we have the answer or whatever figured out, it'll happen. It'll happen. But it'll be natural. We didn't reach for anything. Like, you know. So it's just like I think I love it here because it's competitive. There's you got a chip on your shoulder because it's just like everybody wants to get it. Everybody wants to make the best songs. Everybody wants to be the best artist out here. There's not one person that I've talked to. It's just like, yeah, I just want to be underground only. It's like, no, you wanna pop off, but the perspective of popping needs to change because popping isn't, you know, necessarily selling 100,000 copies or whatever units. It's like popping is your skill is still increasing like every other year, and you're still gaining, you know, people to listen to your music because no matter what the number is, like, yeah, you can have millions and millions of dollars, but it's like you're doing something that a regular 9 to 5 person can't do, you know, and you love doing it. You love having fun. Like you said, we go to our sessions. It's like we love having fun. So yeah, if we only get like 10 people with knowing every word of my song or, you know, our song, it is what it is. I still won because $10, like, I mean, 10 people. If I charge $10 at the door, that's, you know what I mean. Like, I don't do math, but I know that's a big number.
It's a start, bro.
Like,
I've seen videos of Travis Scott literally performing in front of 5, 10, 15 people.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is possible, but you just have to start.
Yeah, and those 5, 10, 15 people might know like 20 or 30 solid people, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's about to drop some hoodies. I really want to buy them." They're like $60. $60, you sell like 250, 300 of those. It's just like, dude, you can still work your regular job, but still have like a presence in you know, a lane that you necessarily didn't even want to try with clothing. So
yeah, and that's why I'm glad that we're doing all the stuff that we're doing now because I view it as an investment. These interviews, whatever, might get however many views on YouTube. The tracks that you put out might get a certain amount of streams, but
yeah.
5 years from now, if you're doing something brilliant, you're in a movie or whatever, this interview that we've just done becomes gold because it's you before the fame, before money, before all of the accomplishments and achievements, and people love to see that.
Yeah, and it's also the ultimate timestamp is like when I die, they know where my mind was at, what I wanted to do, and then somebody that watches the interview can, you know, take bits and crumbs or whatever they can get away from this because, you know, that's all that matters is like our time and what we can pass on, you know.
And I get this from listening to podcasts all the time. Just a little tidbit or a point that someone may have made will stick with you, and then you apply that, and it becomes its own completely different thing in your life, and then it just runs with itself because you apply that person's knowledge. For example, something that you've said, I apply it to my life and my art, and then we've just made something completely different.
Yeah, yeah. Make a whole different stream of thought. You know, you just want to think differently out here and stop thinking like everybody else. You want to be different.
You want to be different.
Yeah.
Should we wrap this up, bro? We're at an hour.
Yeah, Duff Radio.
Thanks for coming through, man. It's
no
been a pleasure.
problem.
Tuning out, everybody.
All right then, y'all. Peace.